There's a little game that I love to play, which is called Why Did the Compilers of the Lectionary Put These Readings Together? If you happen to know the answer, perhaps you read a book called How the Lectionary Was Compiled. Please, I beg you, do not tell me. My attempt to solve this puzzle is one of the greatest joys of my week, and it occupies almost as much time as solving the puzzle, what do these readings mean? And if I have even 30 seconds longer to think about it, the puzzle becomes, what do these readings mean for us today? We get some early points in this game this week by starting with a psalm, probably the best known of all psalms. The Lord is my shepherd. Most of us can recite it by heart, at least in the King James Version, and we immediately imagine ourselves as sheep, led and protected beside refreshing waters to drink and through pastures of plentiful food. Fast forward about 1,000 years from the reading from the Gospel of John. During the festival of dedication, which we know as Hanukkah, there are people testing Jesus to see if he's the Messiah. And his answer to him is that they do not believe him because they do not belong to his sheep. His sheep know his voice. They follow him, and he gives them eternal life. Jump forward another 60 years or so, and John, exiled on the island of Patmos, relays an extraordinary vision to us. He's confronted with a question, who are the ones robed in white standing before the throne and the Lamb? And the answer, those who have come out of the great ordeal. They've washed their robes in the blood of the Lamb and made them white. And the Lamb at the center of the throne will be their shepherd, and he will guide them to springs of the water of life. The words lamb and sheep and shepherd ring in our ears as if the readings for the fourth Sunday of Easter in year C are going to tie together beautifully. It's not every week that the readings fold together so nicely, and yes, fold is a pun about sheep. But this week looks strong. At this point, however, we take up the reading from Acts. We learn of a saintly woman who dedicates her time to sewing garments for the poor and performing works of charity. Soon after she dies, Peter is brought to her. He kneels and prays, summoning a power that is above his own, then commands her to get up. It's a lovely story that just refuses to fit with the others. I was thinking that maybe, just maybe, her name means shepherd or sheep. It does not. Both Tabitha in Aramaic and Dorcas in Greek mean gazelle. I do not like to let my fit these readings together game fall apart so easily, so our lectionary class got to witness my fervent effort to hammer a gazelle-shaped puzzle piece into a sheep-shaped hole. Alas, the legs were too lanky, the horns were too tall, and the neck was too long. All this at a time when Year C, Easter 4, happens to fall on the second Sunday in May, which is when many around the world celebrate Mother's Day. That introduced another potential friction for my lectionary puzzle. There are no family members mentioned among those who mourn Tabitha, only widows and saints. Makes me wonder if she had no children. These readings echoed around in my brain for a few days. Sheep, shepherds, Tabitha, the gazelle. And whatever they could possibly mean for us on Mother's Day, when I stumbled across a YouTube video that has gone viral. A Dr. Russell Barkley, an expert in ADD and ADHD apparently, discussed a recent cultural phenomenon where parents approach neuropsychologists such as himself, guilt-stricken, disappointed, and distressed because their kids did not turn out as they expected. Turns out that playing classical music in their nurseries did not turn the children into geniuses or even good musicians. Dangling lots of toys over their cribs did not turn the children into mathematical prodigies. His advice to the parents is you are not an engineer of your children. You're like a shepherd. You do not have the power to engineer the sheep, but the role of shepherd is still very important. You choose the pastures in which sheep will graze and develop and grow. Shepherds determine whether the sheep are appropriately nourished, and they protect them from harm. Suddenly, it feels providential that these readings should fall on Mother's Day. The role of any of us who have nurtured someone, that includes those of us who are mothers, those of us who are not mothers, but fathers, aunts, uncles, mentors, sponsors of those who are vulnerable, we're all shepherds. We cannot determine exactly how those people that we shepherd are going to turn out, but we can certainly do our best to lead them to verdant pastures and provide clean water for them. Even that seems like a huge task. Remember that in the psalm, the Lord is leading us to green pastures and still waters, not among the streams of beautiful East Tennessee, but the Lord finds these life-sustaining comforts in the desert. The Lord protects us from injury and from predators in a terrain referred to as the valley of the shadow of death. The gospel pushes this commission of the shepherd even further. Last week, we heard that the hired hand abandons the sheep when the wolf approaches because the sheep do not belong to him. Jesus, however, is the good shepherd, and the sheep know his voice. Jesus lays down his life for the sheep. That scenario seems to be the very revelation that John received on Patmos. The shepherd is the lamb, the same one that was sacrificially slain in chapter 5, and the multitude of the people who have been through the tribulation have used his blood to bleach their garments white. He is the shepherd and the sheep. If the concept of shepherding, especially something as valuable as our children, feels as overwhelming to you as it does to me, let's remember a few things. Last week, after we heard Jesus encourage Peter to perform the duties of a shepherd, feed my lambs, tend my sheep, feed my sheep, Jesus tells Peter to follow me, as in Peter too is to be the shepherd and also the sheep. Given all the garments and charity that Tabitha has provided to the widows of her community, it seems fitting that we should see her as a shepherd after all. But she's also the sheep who recognizes the Lord's voice in Peter's prayerful command, Tabitha, get up. So what does this compilation of readings mean for us on this particular Mother's Day? Be the gazelle who recognizes the voice of God, which brings you back to life. Be the sheep that knows the voice of Jesus, who gives us eternal life. And be the shepherd who knows the voice of God, who will guide us to the springs of the water of life.